Have you been overpaying for your games and want a cash settlement fast? The consumer rights advocacy group in the UK wants Sony to pay $5.9 billion for the years of charging consumers more in the UK than some other markets.
And Gamescom took place this past week with a ton of new game announcements and trailers, some really exciting stuff. We're going to talk about all this and so much more right now on Gaming News Weekly. Gaming News Weekly is back. We are the best weekly video game news show out there. Every single Monday, we bring you all the latest happenings in the video game industry. You go check us out on YouTube, on Fruit Lab, anywhere you get podcasts. We're there talking video games. My name is E-Rock the Red. This is Full Clip. What's going on, buddy? How are you?
Oh, doing good, man. A bit overwhelmed. You know, we had Gamescom this week, and the announcements were nonstop.
Dude, it was insane. Lots of really, really cool stuff. Not a ton of, like, new stuff. I mean, there was a bunch of really cool new stuff. But, man, we learned a lot about games that we talked about and have been excited to see more, you know? Yeah. That was, like, kind of what this was. It was like, okay, we mentioned this is coming out. Here's, like, 20 minutes of it. And it was like, dude, it was a lot of content.
Yeah, and it ran from, what, Thursday through Saturday?
Yeah. Yep. Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, so with a showcase every day.
And it was cool because it was like an in-game or in-person event, you know? So it was like it's kind of, we're getting back to those, and every video I've seen, it looked like it was a blast. But, you know, we'll get into that. First of all, I want to know, have you had time to play anything exciting?
You know, I haven't really picked up much new. We had the big update on Fruit Lab, so Fruit Lab Gaming is now a reality. And they have some of the free-to-play titles in there while we're in this sort of like early beta stage. So I picked up PUBG, and I always wanted to play it back when it was like the only Battle Royale game.
Yeah.
And it always looked really cool. I think it might be a little too late for me to get into now because everybody's a pro. But yeah, I noticed that they have like a casual mode that has 33 people and 66 bots or something like that. So it's a little easier to get into that way. I don't know how much I'm going to play it. I'll probably wait for other games to come out on the Fruit Lab Gaming platform.
Yeah, like you said, everybody's a master at that game now. They're eating those chicken dinners.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, same with like Fortnite and all those.
Yeah, you're just riding around on a bike saying, look at me. Look at me.
Did the mountain bike review.
Mm-hmm. Quality stuff. Let's see. I got into Destroy All Humans 2 Reprobed. Got a review copy of that.
Nice.
Played a bunch of it. The review will be coming out. It might already be out by the time you're watching this. That's my plan. But not to spoil my review, it's all right. Yeah. It has its moments, but overall, it feels dated still. You know, so it's a remake of a game that came out in 2006, and it was trying to be edgy and that type of humor. And it's just a little juvenile. The gameplay mechanics aren't great, but it was the first time I've ever played one of those games. And at first, dude, I was having a blast. You just run around, just tossing people with your telekinesis, or you got an anal probe, or it's super silly stuff, but it wore thin as I played it a little bit more. But
no, I was gonna say that I just remember the original back on like PlayStation 1 or PlayStation 2, that era. And I mean, as a kid, that's all you want. You want those. You want to be able to like abduct a cow and probe people. Exactly.
It was silly, and it's just maybe it's just not for me. I don't know. But the highlight of my week is actually one of our new releases that we're going to talk about. Midnight Fight Express, dude. This game is so much fun. You got to try it. You didn't get a chance to check it out yet?
No, I saw your video. Is your pick for the week?
Yeah, it's on Game Pass, dude. And it is like, I mean, it really is like you're just an action hero just running through these games. Just like, it's so violent and so, I don't know. It's just very over the top, but like it flows beautifully, and the violence is like well choreographed. It looks great. So, but yeah, let's get into our new releases and make it official. What do you say?
All right.
All right, these are our new releases from last week. Midnight Fight Express came out August 23rd on PC, PS4, Xbox One, and Nintendo Switch. So it starts off like you really have no idea what's happening, but there's a drone that gets delivered to your house and it like triggers like a sleeper agent. And then that's you, and you're going through this game, and it's like, yeah, it's like you're John Wick, you're Jean-Claude Van Damme, you're Steven Seagal, and you're running through, and you're just beating the shit out of everybody. Oh, yeah. And that's all it is. It's just a beat 'em up. But what's cool about it is after every level, you can upgrade your like a skill tree, and there's all these different like finishers you could do and weapons that you can get. Like there's, a lot of melee weapons and then guns, and you could change your clothes and your outfit. Everything about it is just so much fun. The soundtrack is banging. Like it is. It's a fantastic game. I highly recommend it.
Yeah, and if it's on Game Pass, I think I'll watch a little more of the gameplay footage first and make a decision. I could probably check that out and get into it.
Oh, it's super easy, and it's like something you could just, you could check it out on cloud gaming. It'll probably run pretty, because it's not, it's not a graphically intensive game. So if you want to just test it out, see how it fits, just give it a shot. But the controls are real simple. You just gotta hit a button to attack and then block and all that sort of stuff. But it can get, as you go through, it can get a little bit more difficult to master. But it is. I'm having a blast with it. It really does make you feel like you're in one of these action movies. So
nice.
Next up, Saints Row also came out on the 23rd. PC, PS4, PS5, Xbox One, XS. This is Saints Row. It's good. It's going back to its more traditional roots. So for a while, it was just like a GTA style game, and then Saints Row 3 or 2. I don't know. At some point, they introduced giant dildos as weapons, and there was Satan in the game, and it was just absurd, and now it's back to being more of just a GTA style street, open world kind of game like that. Have you ever played one of these games, Saints Row?
A little bit of. I think maybe Saints Row 3. It was one of those free games way back in the day on Xbox 360, something like that.
Okay, yeah. The only one I played was Get Out of Hell or whatever, and it starts in hell, and you have to escape from hell, and it's really really silly and a lot of juvenile humor. But this is back to just a traditional, you're a criminal or whatever. But there's 9 districts. You got to take over the districts. There's a character creation thing that's pretty detailed, where you could just pretty much make anything, which seems like the coolest part about the game, honestly. Just seeing all the people's creations. And it does have a 2-player co-op, so if you wanted to play with a friend, you could get in there. Reviews on the game, not great. Right now it's only at a 65 on Metacritic. I've heard it's it's not the best. So
yeah, that's basically what I've seen. I watched a review on it. They said the dialogue is bad. The game feels like it's 10 years older than it should be. Things like that. But I mean, if you're into a more zany version of GTA, it might be worth checking out.
Yeah, or if you're just into creating characters, which I think you could just get an app on your phone and make your character right there on the phone. That has been out for a little while yet, so that looks like the best part. And the last one I put in there just for you. I know you're excited for this one.
I thought so, yeah.
SD Gundam Battle Alliance came out August 25th, PC. It came out for everything. It's everywhere. It's an action role-playing game where you battle SD versions of Gundam, which is super deformed, I found out.
Yeah.
Now,
exactly.
Is this something you
You've
knew
done
about?
Your research.
I have, yeah. I was like, dude, I can't have Full Clip making fun of me around this. So what do you know about this game? Has this been on your radar?
It wasn't until 2 days ago I saw the release trailer for it, and that's the first time I've heard of it. And I was watching some gameplay of it, and I thought, okay, that's cool. And it encompasses a lot of the Gundam series that I've watched, which are some of the best ones, like Iron-Blooded Orphans, the main series that started back in 1970-something, and Gundam Wing, which was really popular because it was on like Toonami for years in the U.S. So it has a lot of that, like some of the best mobile suits, a lot of nostalgic characters and things like that. I thought, okay, is this like a $20 or $30 game? Because I'm in. But I went and checked out Steam. It is like a full release $60 or buy the deluxe for $80. I don't think I'm in it for that.
Yeah, I gotcha. Yeah, and it definitely seems like it's geared towards like super fans, because like the whole premise is like you're leading this 3-unit squad that to fix like famous moments in Gundam history. Like something has happened and you got to like go back. And so like people, you know, that are familiar with Gundam history and stuff are, you know, they're all like, what? I got to do this. So I thought that was pretty cool.
It's very, very weird. But yeah, that was one of the things when I'm watching this video. And I like one of the bad guy suits. It's one of my favorite mobile suits out of all the series, the Goof, and the guy who pilots it. And that appears on screen for 2 seconds, and then it's like, oop, it just transformed into a completely different character in a completely different suit from a completely different series. I had no idea what was going on.
Gotcha.
But, yeah.
Yeah, it definitely, and like, if they're, you know, for a full-fledged $60 title or whatever, I think it could look a little bit better, too. Like, you know, I thought it did lack a little bit of that polish, but... You know, we'll see. Maybe you could get on sale or something.
Yeah.
You know, keep your eyes out. All right, well, that's it for our major releases from this past week. Let's get into the meat of this show, the big news, the Gamescom news, our news of the week. All right, so Gamescom 2022 was this past week. It was, like we said, it was an in-person event. Lots of things happening over in Cologne, Germany, and too many things to announce. I mean, there was hundreds of trailers, indie games, full-fledged AAA titles, so much stuff. So I thought, why don't we each pick 5 of our favorite moments, favorite trailers, announcements from Gamescom, and we'll do Gaming News Weekly top 10 list. You know, that's what everybody likes, lists. So, you know, let's do it. Let's get into it. You want to kick things off, or you want me to go ahead?
Go for it.
All right. So this one is not a surprise. Everybody knows, if you've been watching the show, I'm a big fan of All Elite Wrestling, and you know, we've talked about the game and how it's coming along, but we got an extended... This is the first time we really got to see the game in action. So we got an extended look at the gameplay. It was like a full match, and it looks just like... If you're familiar with the Nintendo 64, like No Mercy, it plays just like that. And that's all I wanted. Dude, I was so excited to see this. Like, you know, it looks like a little bit more polished version, updated version of it, obviously. But... just like they showed the mechanics, and it's like the simple ways to trigger your finisher, to you know, do all the moves in the game, and I was very excited. In fact, they actually they set up a ring there, like a wrestling ring, and they had like exhibition matches during the Gamescom.
Oh, wow.
Like actual like wrestling matches there. A couple of the stars from All Elite Wrestling were there, and then it won the best sports game at the Gamescom Awards. Now, I don't know if there was much other nominees, but you know, that's something. So I'm hyped. What'd you think of that? Now you're not as biased as I am.
Yeah.
What was your takeaway from it?
I am certainly not the wrestling fan that you are, but I was a fan of the wrestling games back in the day, like N64 era, and I thought they did them so well. And yeah, I've spent countless minutes bitching on this podcast with you about wrestling games in their current state. So this is the refresher that I think this genre game needs, and it looks like a very fun time.
Absolutely. All right, give me one of yours.
All right, Dead Island 2. Now, this is one that people have been waiting like 8 years for. I went and dug up the... Yeah, it was announced at E3 in 2014 with this awesome looking trailer. It was revealed that it was going to be like on that Santa Monica beach boardwalk in California, so it's all set in LA. That hasn't changed. The only thing that's sort of revealed more now is that you're going to have like 6 playable characters in this game. You see at least one of them in the trailer, and it just looks good. Did you play the original Dead Island, or I guess there were like 3?
I played it. I played the first one, and I thought it was a very well made game. So I've been looking forward to it. I remember watching this trailer live and being like, dude, I can't believe it's been that long since we're getting the game. Insane.
Oh, yeah. I think a lot of people have been looking forward to this one, and like you, that's the only one that I played of the original, like 3 there, the first Dead Island. But it's a different kind of zombie game. I mean, they're a lot like it now, but the crafting, the way that you could create your weapons and things like that, it had a little bit of that Evil Dead thrown in, where like almost anything could be a weapon. You might find like a lawnmower or a weed whacker or something. Yeah,
and it's funny, it's violent.
Yeah.
I'll tell you, the graphics in this look like some of in this trailer. Like, now I don't know how it's gonna carry over to the gameplay or whatever, but dude, it looked phenomenal. Like at one point, like there's a zombie in your face, and you see like every like strand of hair and stuff. I was like, dude, this game looks fantastic.
Oh yeah.
So. Yeah, and they gave us a release date, February 3rd, 2023. So, went from not hearing anything since 2014, and we're going to have it in just about, like, what, six months, 4 months?
Better put an asterisk behind that, because nothing is coming out on time.
That's a very good point. All right, next up for me, Atomic Heart. Now, this was not a new game, but they showed a trailer showing the combat, and this shit was insane. It was probably the most insane trailer that I watched, and it was like just the amount of different things going on. So there's telekinesis, and then like in one hand, and it's super weird, and and then like one thing, the guy's like freezing the guy, and he's got an axe, and like there's a ton of different weapons. Dude, I had no idea what was happening, but it was weird, and it was violent, and I loved it.
Yeah, I saw it described as Russian Bioshock. It's set in like it's set somewhere I forget, like Tovsgrad or somewhere in Russia.
All right, yeah. It definitely, but yeah, just the way that it's done, it looks like you use different magical spells or something with your left hand. Then your right hand, they kept showing all sorts of different weapons that you could have, and you could combine them together. Like you freeze the thing and then smash it with this hammer or whatever, and it was like. Yeah, it was like a symphony of violence, and I was like, okay, this looks really cool.
Yeah, really good trailer. That'll get you hyped for it.
That one, 2022, we got they said, but yeah, that was all we got. All right, what do you got?
All right, next one up was Under the Waves. Did you see this one?
Ooh, this looked beautiful.
Yeah. So I've not played Subnautica, but this will definitely give you vibes of that game, but a little different, a little more like surrealistic at times. You're underwater. It looks like there might be like either existing bases or a base building element to it. I believe it's like a survival kind of thing, but unlike something like Subnautica where you're just on like an alien ocean, this appears to be on Earth, and it appears to be you have like towns that have been sunken in, but you see that there are like searchlights. So you're kind of like experiencing this underwater world in a way as if it's more similar to the above water world. It sort of reminds me of like Silent Hill in certain ways.
Yeah, it definitely had that vibe where it was like creepy, eerie, haunting, it's just kind of, and I think based just on the trailer, it's about like loneliness and death and like being below underneath here. Now it's done by Quantic Dream. Those are the guys that did like Heavy Rain and Detroit Become Human. So I'm sure the story's going to be fantastic. They really focus on that. But yeah, dude, this game, it gave me like, I don't like being like underwater or whatever. Like in like, it gave me anxiety just watching the trailer. But it looked gorgeous. Yeah, I'm excited for more about that one. Anytime Quantic Dream is attached to something, now I say that without even like I played Detroit for like an hour and I keep meaning to go back to it, but I am a big fan of that studio, so that was a good pick. All right, next up for me, I wasn't sure if I wanted to include it on my list, but it's so weird that I had to. Killer Clowns from Outer Space is getting a game. Now, have you ever seen this movie?
I've not. I've like always seen the thumbnail on Netflix or something.
Yeah. I mean, it's a cult classic. It's not like a good movie, but it's one of those that people like, they love it because it sucks. But it's, you know, a movie from the 80s with these freaky looking clowns. And now it's going to be a game. It's going to be an asymmetrical game where, but it's 3 versus 7. So 3 people play as the clowns and 7 people play as like people trying to survive. And it was described as like a unique take on hide and seek. So I was like, all right, sign me up.
Yeah. Looked interesting. From the trailer, it looks like you're kind of like at a carnival. You have, I assume, what are NPCs walking around. So maybe there are a lot of other characters in there that the clowns aren't going to kill. You're just looking for the specific humans.
Yeah. I have no idea what it's going to be, but like, I'm always into these, any of the asymmetrical multiplayer games. So, me and my friends are really into those, and they're coming out with tons of them. And this one, it just looks so strange and so weird. It's going to be out for PS4, PS5, Xbox One X, and X, and PC early in 2023. They said so. Hopefully, we'll see more about this and get an idea of what the actual gameplay is going to be. All right, what do you got?
All right, next up, Tesla Grad 2. This is probably my most like indie style pick on this list. I've never even heard of the first Tesla Grad, so I have no idea about it. But Tesla Grad 2, it reminds me of one of those like side to side Limbo or Inside style games. Except in this one, there's hand drawn animation, so the whole thing looks beautiful. And I guess you've got sort of this ancient power. You can be electricity, you can exert electricity, so that turns into like your attack. You're attacking these undead, nightmarish creatures with your electricity. You're also traversing the levels with it, so you can turn yourself into electricity and zip along the power lines to get from place to place.
Yeah, that seemed like a really cool gameplay mechanic. And right away, dude, that's whatever the music was in the trailer, I was instantly like drawn into that. That was like it grabbed me and brought me in, and then like a lot of really cool looking like characters in that too, like the things you'll come across and fight and stuff. I've never heard of Tesla Grad 1 or 2. I didn't until I saw this on the list. I was like, what even is it? But yeah, it looks super cool.
Yeah, looks like a game with a lot of heart behind it, so I'm interested in picking it up.
Yeah, absolutely, and especially like it's like if it's a good Metroidvania, and people will be into that.
Yeah.
All right, my number 4th one. This is one I've been excited for a while, and we finally got more gameplay. Lies of P. Now I don't know if we talked about this on the show before, but so this is basically, it's like Pinocchio meets Bloodborne, and it looks exactly like Bloodborne. Like, not even like, hey, that's reminiscent of Bloodborne. It looks exactly like Bloodborne, and Bloodborne is one of, if not my favorite video game ever. So this one, dude, I was all in. So now the gameplay, we're seeing more. So we're seeing more of like what it means to be like Pinocchio. So Pinocchio, he's got like you could customize his arms to be like weapons, and you can modify all these weapons. You find parts throughout the game and like change the weapons up. Like they were saying that like you could have like basically like a stick, and then you could upgrade that stick, and then throughout it you'll find different things to put on it, maybe like an axe head or a hammer or something like that, to like customize that weapon. And then on top of that, being Pinocchio, your lies, you have to like lie throughout it, and they change the gameplay. So dude, I was very excited to see. I think it was like a 20-minute clip of some of the gameplay, and then I watched a interview with one of the creators, and that's where I learned a lot more about the game. So yeah, what do you think?
Yeah, it looked crazy. I mean, like the types of enemies that you're going to be fighting, the magic that they're going to be using, the setting, it's like you can't quite pin any of this down. It's not like strictly Victorian. It's not But I see what you mean. I've not played the Bloodborne games, but I see what you mean by it looks exactly like it.
Yeah, it really is, and it's got the same. I mean, just even the menu system, everything. Like it's very like Souls, and specifically Bloodborne.
Yeah.
So that one's going to be coming out sometime in 2023, and that one he did say it's only going to be a single player title, which that's fine with me. Every once in a while you need a quality single player title to get going at. But yeah, I am. It's high up on the top of my most look forward to list. So hopefully it can continue to impress.
Now, does the P stand for Pinocchio?
I believe so.
Okay.
It could. I mean, it could be.
Makes a lot of sense. Lies of P.
Yeah, it makes a lot more sense than potato.
Yeah, Matthew Perry.
Oh yeah, Lies of Matthew Perry. That would be a different game. All right, what do you got?
All right. So this is the one that I'm most likely to regret if it doesn't turn out to be something worth playing. It's called Everywhere, and if you listen to the description of it, it's everything. It's like I don't even know where to start. I mean, it looks like it's a racing game, it's a shooting game, and then it's like an ultra realistic sci-fi fantasy thing by the end of the trailer.
Yeah, this was my most WTF trailer that I watched, where I watched it and I was like, I have no idea what I just saw.
Yeah, but it's got a lot of talent behind it. It's got like the lead from Red Dead, GTA, and we're multiple people here from Rockstar Games, formerly of Rockstar Games, involved. So, I mean, if there's anybody I trust to make a quality game, it's going to be Rockstar. But yeah, they talk about it like you're supposed to create this identity of your own through the characters of this game, and they want you to be able to create and share within the game. Now, I don't know if that means like create parts of worlds or create playable things in the game, characters, cars, because the game seems to be a little bit of everything.
Yeah. Yeah, so I had to look it up after I saw this, and there was a lot of speculation it was going to be an NFT-based thing, and that guy did dispel the rumors that it has anything to do with NFTs, but he did just say he's trying to build a whole new world for gamers, not just to play, but yeah, watch, share, create, and just hang with friends, whatever that means.
Yeah.
No clue.
Yeah, so, if it works out, this will be awesome. If it doesn't, then we probably won't be talking about this again.
Yeah, I do think this is probably one of the most talked about announcements at Gamescom, just because of like the mystery behind it and like what even is it? Because at first, yeah, you're watching it, it's like, oh, cool, like it's like you got racing, you got shooting. We've seen that before, and then at the end, when it's like, wait, this is part of the game too. When they show like the like you said, the realistic like sci-fi part of it, I'm like, how does it factor in together? I don't know,
right.
But I'm sure we'll be talking about this a lot more in the future. So that one's very excited to see what the hell that is. All right, and my last one. Now it was hard to pick 5. I had a lot of honorable mentions, but Atlas Fallen really, it looked like it was made just for me. So we see this trailer, and it's like this open world game where it's like all this like sand and everywhere, and then all of a sudden these people are like gliding through the sand on these weird, like sand surfing, and then they come across these monsters, and like these characters have like a whip. As soon as you show me a whip in the game that could then like go through a monster, and then like I'm in. I see like a sword whip type thing, I'm 100% in. So I looked up more about this, and the premise is like, so you have to get a gauntlet and collect these stones that give abilities. So there's like, I don't know, like 150 stones out there, and like you could mix and match them to give you different abilities. It's basically like your Thanos, but I think like a good version of Thanos.
Oh yeah.
So who doesn't want to be that, right?
Yeah, looks interesting.
Yeah. There's different like it looks kind of like Monster Hunter at some points, where you're fighting these huge like creatures, and then at other points, it looks a little maybe like Destiny, and it's just the weapons, the monsters, the world. Yeah, it looked beautiful.
Oh yeah.
All right, what is your last one?
All right, last on the list, certainly not least, Where Winds Meet. This has been described certain places as like a nod to Ghosts of Tsushima, but I'm sure this has been in development almost as long as Ghosts was. But you definitely see the DNA there. You see DNA of like Assassin's Creed and some other games. But this game is it's based like largely on Chinese mythology, and it looks like a game where you're 1,000 years ago or possibly even further, but you're some sort of like the hero type. You've got bows, you've got arrows, but then I forget the word for it, but there's a certain word for the type of like Chinese movie like Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon, with that magical element added to the kung fu, and you as the character have abilities like that.
Yeah, that I love that sort of stuff, like the like Crouching Tiger. I forget what it's called, like Wu something, not Wu Tang. That's different. But yeah, this game looks beautiful. Looks gorgeous. The abilities look cool. It did not make my list because I was heartbroken to find out that right now it's PC only. So
I'm sure it looks like it would easily be on consoles as well.
How do you make a game this big and beautiful and like fantastic and just have it on PC? So I looked all over. I was like, come on, give me like some sort of just a nod that you're like looking to put on consoles. Couldn't find anything. Everything I saw was just PC only. So hopefully, they'll get it out there on a console, because it's got that fantasy, like any fantasy martial arts stuff, like all those movies. Love them.
Yeah.
So, and we don't get a lot of games like that, because even Ghost of Tsushima, that's more just a straightforward. It doesn't have that
grounded in reality.
Yes. Yeah. So, all right, that's it. That's our top 10 list. Now, obviously, there was so many more amazing looking trailers. There was a new trailer for Gotham Knights, which we saw some boss battles. Hogwarts Legacy, we saw you could be you learn like the bad curses, Avada Kedavra or whatever. You could be a bad guy. Did you see the trailer for Moonbreaker? It's like a tabletop game where you have to like paint miniatures and stuff like that.
I don't know. There was one where like the dudes were looking through some cards and then they got into fighting.
I don't know. Maybe I don't know if that was it or not. There was also like a cards fighting game called Friend versus Friend.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking of. So
okay.
What was the one you were saying?
Moonbreaker. It's done by Brandon Sanderson. He he wrote books like Mistborn and whatever, the Wheel of Time series. But this one, like it's like a tactical role playing game, but it's just like a tabletop thing, and it's done with miniatures. So you have to like pick which miniatures you want, and you paint them, and then you like it just seems like really interesting.
Yeah.
So I just that was one that I almost include on my list, but I know nothing about that world. I think it might be Warhammer or something. I don't know. But
okay.
Yeah, all those miniatures. But it looked cool. Yeah. It looked like fun where you could just have a chill moment where you're just like painting stuff and then go play like this tactical fighting game. So yeah, lots of good stuff. Definitely, go if you're interested. Go check out lists. There's lists out there of all the games that were announced that did a showcase. But we told you that the best ones, so you really don't need to go any further, right?
Yeah. Did you hear anything hardware-wise? The only thing that I can remember was PlayStation new Pro controller.
Yes. Yeah. That the Dual Edge or whatever it's called, DualSense Edge. Yeah, customizable controller. Which I've never really I had the need to get any of those Pro, especially considering the price of them usually. But I think I like that it's out there for people that are really into either shooters or fighters or whatever, and they could customize it to, however, whatever games they're playing. But my old hands are definitely, they're used to the specific layout right now. I don't need to be messing with that.
Oh, yeah. But, it is kind of impressive for a Pro controller compared to the ones I've seen before. The entire, thumbstick module is removable on these, which is kind of a big deal because the more you use a controller, it's just that same old analog stick that they've been using since like the 70s in electronics. So when that goes bad in like an Xbox One controller, you have to go in there, desolder like 16 different points and put a new one in. Most people are just going to chuck the controller in the trash at that point. Yep. So this is nice. I don't know how much those like replacements would cost or where you can get them. Yeah. But it is an actual impressive controller for a pro controller.
Yeah, that's a good point. I didn't even think about that part. Yeah, I've definitely, just toss a bunch of controllers before and just buy a new one just because of that very specific issue. So that was it. I mean, they also did, I don't know if it came out at Gamescom, but they did announce that PlayStation VR is going to be coming out sometime early 2023, and they said that it'll be playable for the first time at the Tokyo Game Show, which is later in September 15th through the 18th. You could be able to play Resident Evil Village right on there. So I'm excited to see people's reactions, people's takeaway from getting in there and checking out the PSVR 2, because I'm still on the fence. So sooner than people expected, though. Still early 2023, no actual release date, but we'll see. But yeah, Sony has been busy. There's more news coming out of Sony. So first of all, let's talk about, they're raising the prices of the PlayStation 5. Now they said it's due to inflation. They felt the need to raise the price. Not in the US, so suck it, the rest of the world. But yeah, the quote from them specifically said, "The global economic environment is a challenge that many of you around the world are no doubt experiencing. We're seeing high global inflation rates as well as adverse currency trends impacting consumers and creating pressure on many industries. And then based on these challenging economic conditions, it's going to raise the price." Now, different amounts depending on where you are in the world, but it looks like it's about a $50 price hike. Not in the U.S., though.
Yeah, which begs the question, why? We definitely are seeing a lot of inflation right now.
Yes.
So why are they... I don't know anyway. Like,
business.
I've not paid attention to the prices of consoles in other countries, but I've never seen a console increase in price that I can remember. It's always been, you just wait, and they go down in price until they're like $200 for the PS4 when it launched at $6 or something like that.
Yeah, it's definitely interesting. Yeah, you never, ever, I mean, not even just consoles, just anything like that that's been, I mean, it hasn't gotten any better, So the fact that it's just due to inflation, I guess, it makes sense, but like, yeah, you never see anything like that go up in price. Computers, phones, anything like that. So
yeah, and so there's been the question: is Sony alone in this, or is Microsoft going to have to raise prices? Is Nintendo going to have to? Both of them have come out and said no, they won't be raising the prices. So I guess inflation's just not affecting them as badly, or
yeah, I think they just have the money that they could eat a little bit of this. Keep face with the consumer. And they're rolling, especially Microsoft. We know that they're they're flush, as they say. But yeah, I don't know about business or inflation. I see it out there, but yeah, like you said, it was interesting to see that they're actually raising the price, not in the U.S., but yeah, who knows? And maybe they're raising the price because there's a big lawsuit that they're facing and they're preparing. Now, this is an interesting story. Sony is being sued in the UK for $5 billion. This is a class action lawsuit, specifically for ripping people off, they're saying. So, let's see. Here's a quote. "Sony dominates the digital distribution of PlayStation games and in-game content. It has deployed an anti-competitive strategy which has resulted in excessive prices to customers that are out of all proportion to the cost of Sony providing its services." So basically that means they're saying that Sony has a monopoly on the digital market for their games. Basically saying that, like, you can't buy codes out there. You can't, like, go buy whereas, like, you could buy a game for the Xbox on like one of those little cards or whatever. You go to like GameStop or whatever. You can, and Sony doesn't offer that. If you could only buy their games for their system in the digital marketplace through Sony. So they're suing for that because Sony charges a 30% take, and whoever this lawyer is thought he could get some money out of it. I think I feel this story is very interesting to me. It's a giant pile of shit, and it's not going to get anywhere. But you know, it's setting some sort of a precedent if this is considered a monopoly or what. I don't know.
Yeah. Well, the part that I sort of heard that this was about was that they just simply charge more in like the UK market. Like it's more in pounds because the pound is like, you know, $60 USD is like, who knows, 11 more, like 71. I don't know the conversion. I'm not going to pretend to. But
sure. But
it like when you adjust it, you're really paying more like $70 or $75 in pounds in the UK market. And they said that this happens in other places too. Like Canada pays more, whereas in the US you always assume it's just going to be at the $60 price point. Where, I mean, that's still your choice though. So, you know, I don't think there's any ground to stand on for this lawsuit. You still choose to, you see the game, you see the price right beside it, and maybe you don't have another way to buy it cheaper, but I mean, to say that Sony is alone in this, I think Microsoft sort of does the same thing. I think Nintendo does the same thing.
Nintendo absolutely does the same. Nintendo sells games that are 15 years old for you know, $50. Like,
oh yeah.
You know, so I don't know. It just seems like they're picking and choosing what they want represented in this case and kind of glossing over a lot of other stuff. I mean, like, what's to stop people from just buying a, like, I mean, I don't know. Like, you could still go buy, like, a gift card for, like, the Sony thing, right? And at a sometimes marked down price. You know, I've seen places like GameStop have discounts, or even, like, you know, I don't know if they have, like, places that do that, but like a lot of times I'll see like you know, like a Rite Aid or a Walgreens, and it'll be like, these are 15% off or whatever. I follow, you know, the PlayStation deals on Reddit. That's where I see a lot of those, where it's like, go stock up on gift cards, and you know, so I don't know. You know, I'm no lawyer, but to me it sounds a little sketchy.
That's true. Yeah, I don't know if this will go anywhere, but it's getting people talking, which that alone may be of value to the people who are saying, yeah, we're being charged too much. It's ridiculous that you're charging this and you're charging somebody else much less for it. Yeah.
Yeah, it'll be, I mean, so it's basically they got to see if the court thinks that this Sony marketplace is a monopoly, and then it could go from there. But my thought on this was that, like, you know, they're just looking to settle or get some sort of, you know, financial payment out of this before it even gets to an actual lawsuit. So who knows? Only time will tell. And, you know, we'll have more news here at Gaming News Weekly as that progresses. And I could see, you know, just next week us saying, and that lawsuit is dead, you know.
Yeah,
but
more than likely.
Yeah, we will have the news either way. And, yeah, that's it. I mean, Gamescom ate up. It was pretty much the whole week. So, besides a couple of interesting things out of the Sony world, that's all we got this week. But it was an exciting week. We got to chat about some fun-looking games, some exciting titles coming out in the near future. And, yeah, now we could go and just drink the rest of the day.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. You got anything else you want to add today?
No, that is enough news for me for this week.
Absolutely. I am exhausted. I've watched so many video game trailers this past week, more than I've ever watched in my entire life. Maybe not. But it was a lot. So it'll be nice to get back to a more normal next week where we talk about a bunch of random bullshit. So. Yeah. All right. Thank you so much for checking out this episode of Gaming News Weekly. My name is E-Rock the Red. This here is Full Clip. You can find us on Fruit Lab, putting out our videos out there. You can find me on YouTube, Pop Culture Playground, or Full Clip is on YouTube at GameFax, GameFax. He's also occasionally on Twitch, FullClip_FL. And check out this show if you don't want to watch the show, if you don't want to see the cool trailers and you just want to hear us talk about them. Download the podcast. Wherever podcasts are available, you can get this show there. And then, we're also on TikTok. We're making waves, dude. We're making waves on TikTok, doing all the challenges. Full Clip and I just smacked each other with tortillas. That was a thing we did. We did the bareback challenge. We're not going to get into what that was. Oh, yeah. Teenage dirtbag. All the challenges. So, yeah, check us out on the TikTok. We're giving all our information to China.
Oh, God.
All right. That brings us to an end. Thank you so much. We will see you back here with more video game news next week. Bye-bye.